Mr. Speaker, earlier today you made mention of something that happened in London 190 years ago.
Yes.
In the world's oldest parliament, called the, what they call that? Palace of Westminster. Where they passed legislation, I might say reluctantly, to abolish slavery in the British colonies. And some might say, this was so great, so nice. But they reluctantly did it because on the table they also passed legislation to pay slave owners. In 1834, they said that slavery was abolished. But that wasn't true, Mr. Speaker. Because for 4 more years, those who were enslaved, not slaves, but those who were enslaved, had to give apprenticeship to their masters. Apprenticeship. I mean, cotton, sugar cane for the last 40 years, and now you want me to be an apprentice. Start again. It's like Monopoly. Go back to zero. You see, Mr. Speaker, the British have a way of, they invented the English language. And they have a way of reinventing words to make you do the same thing over and over. Mr. Speaker, from 1834 until the 1960s, the British still held on to many colonies in the Caribbean. And they even had colonies in Africa, in Asia, and other parts of the world. So for anyone who thinks that 1834 was some watershed moment that the British had this great enlightenment, that, hey, we should just let everybody be free and everybody be equal, they're sadly mistaken, Mr. Speaker. Because, you see, what happened with the British is that they continue to position themselves that they are still dictating to us. Even in many of these independent countries, Mr. Speaker, somehow the crown is still the head of state. People in independent countries have to swear allegiance to the monarch of the day. It was Queen Elizabeth, now it's her son, King Charles III. So how independent are they really if you're swearing allegiance to a foreign power? They position themselves that the monarch is the head of the Commonwealth. Many scores of independent countries in this thing called the Commonwealth, still with the monarch, the head of state, the head of the Commonwealth. Are we still free, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, in the year 2023, the same parliament that sits in the Palace of Westminster, the oldest parliament in the world, is still dictating to 6 overseas territories. That's a nice word. As I say, they like to reinvent the word. Overseas territories really means colony. But, we have to say nice things now. In our sister territory, in which there's a Conya's office called the Virgin Islands, the British are telling them that if they don't do exactly what they say, they will suspend their constitutional order. In our countries called Montserrat, they're telling them if they don't do what they say, they're going to stop funding their docks. In our country, and I say our because, like Bob Marley said, didn't my people slave for this country? We have a lady sitting in the biggest house in Langton Hill telling us, the elected people of this parliament, that she is not going to give assent to what the people voted for and what us as legislators pass. Sorry? Almost like Jachet, right? So you see, Mr. Speaker, while some people may go to City Hall and celebrate that event from 190 years ago, I won't be there. I do not believe in giving legitimacy to colonialism, Mr. Speaker. We have to call it for what it is. Mr. Speaker, you are perhaps one of the leaders in the elder statesmen in the remaining colonies. You refuse to wear that stuff on your head. Others still do it because they are, but they were institutionalized, feeling that in order to be a speaker, I have to wear this on my head. Mr. Speaker, on the eve of what is our emancipation, we have to understand we are not free. We are not free, Mr. Speaker.